What's going on, guys? It's your boy Panda here. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are gearing up and ready to play some XDEFIANT over this upcoming weekend. We have an awesome video today, and to me, one of the most important ones for you guys in order to become a better player at XDEFIANT, and that is going to be my full step-by-step movement guide in regards to everything from the basics to the most advanced movement systems inside this game, because movement is the biggest skill gap. But before we touch on that, I just wanted to talk about XDEFIANT announcing some news on player count for their opening week or opening couple days. In the first 2.5 hours of XDEFIANT's launch, they hit 1 million active players at once, which a Tuesday afternoon in a random time in May to have 1 million players in the first 2.5 hours is unheard of. It's actually not been done other than with Apex Legends back in its launch for a free-to-play game. So big props to XDEFIANT, and at the time of recording this, they actually hit 3 million current players with 300,000 actively online at non-peak hours. That's insane for XDEFIANT. For all the dead on arrival people out there, the game's definitely thriving, and I'm having a ton of fun with it. A lot of people are, and I've said it before, this is just the beginning of a game that has a ton of really big hopeful seasons coming ahead for it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe. It means the world to me. Subscribing is free. It's the best way to support me here on the channel. If you want to hit that post notification bell so you guys stay up to date with all things XDEFIANT here on the channel, it means the world to me. We have a ton of videos planned for the upcoming weeks. We have one like every day for the next 2 weeks, so hopefully you guys enjoy them. Hopefully you guys are getting a good love out of them. Put in the comments what you guys would like to see, but let's hop into what is the most important video on this channel, the movement guide. XDEFIANT is unique as a first-person shooter. It actually is more unique than most because it's not the aim, it's not the accuracy, it's not the map knowledge, it's not any game sense or anything like that that sets you apart from other players. Now, all of these are definitely important, but the biggest thing in XDEFIANT that is the largest skill gap is mastering the movement. And the reason the movement is so important in this game is because it doesn't just have a slide, a jump, and a run feature. It actually has inertia and momentum. And kind of explaining what that means is that momentum, when moving, allows you to chain movements together to get really fluid, really fast around the map, to get out of different gunfights, to engage people in different ways, and just kind of manipulate the movement system to be what I would call a quote-unquote crackhead movement. And if you can master this, you can set yourself apart from players who maybe just hop in or just FPS style players and just know the running, the sliding, and the jumping. These things can all be chained together to make some very creative moves that you guys can take to the next level. So we're going to talk about the most basic all the way up to the most advanced movement and explain every single one of them. Now, mastering your settings is important and crucial to having better movement. Understanding your sensitivities, how you play, the controller you use, the keyboard you use, all of that, mastering all of that is going to make this a lot easier. For me, I play on an Xbox Series Elite 2 controller with 2 paddles on the back. My paddles are bound to jump and melee to make things a lot more seamless for me. I play on the brawler layout, which allows me to rebind my crouch or slide button to my right stick, so at all times I keep my fingers on my sticks without having to remove them to another button. This is easy for me. It's something I've played years of FPSs like this. No matter the game, I always set it to some form of kind of layout like this. If you played Call of Duty, you probably know this as the tactical button layout. So obviously the basics to movement are just sliding, sprinting, and jumping. These don't really need to be explained. You understand how these work. But when it comes to making them a little more advanced, the first thing I would learn if I'm a new player is learning how to slide cancel. Slide canceling allows you to get from point A to point B, to re-engage in gunfights in a different way, and just a unique way to kind of throw your opponent off so that they don't see you as the same character model as everyone else just running around the map casually. The way you slide cancel is while running, you're just going to go into a sprint, and while in that sprint, you're going to start your slide. In the slide, you're going to jump and re-engage that slide and sprint again. It's a very confusing explanation, but once you've done it a couple times, you'll definitely understand it. If you watch almost any gameplay of any video here on my channel, you will see me slide cancel probably 99% of the time. That is the most crucial thing that you need to learn in the kind of movement era. So the next big one that is actually kind of controversial in most video games is going to be bunny hopping. So there's no jump fatigue inside of XDEFIANT. That means when jumping, you can repeatedly do this as many times as you'd like. And bunny hopping is something that either people love or they absolutely hate. I'm a big fan of it. I think it adds another skill gap to the game. When getting in engagements while bunny hopping, it's a little bit different. So imagine you're fighting someone one-on-one while standing still, and both of you are just trying to see who has the better aim. If you add a bunny hop into that or a jump while fighting, the opponent might not expect that to come, so now they're aiming at your middle chest rather than getting that headshot multiplier that is such a crucial thing in this game. The TTK is drastically altered when hitting headshots, so being able to maybe get the upper hand on them by jumping and causing them to shoot middle chest while you hit a headshot can actually decide if you're going to win or lose that gunfight. So I would say your first two things you want to learn as a beginner player is slide canceling and bunny hopping. These are two crucial things that will help you win way more gunfights. Now, a more advanced one that you guys are going to learn about is going to be crouch spamming. Now, this is one that is subject to change because there is no crouch fatigue in this game, but there are rumors of crouch fatigue being added in by Aches and them talking online, the dev team saying basically, hey, we have a plan to add crouch fatigue depending on feedback. So keep in mind, this one is subject to change compared to the rest of them. That most likely won't change, but crouch spamming is another way to kind of win gunfights. It's another way to throw your opponents off. Obviously, all that entails you just crouching mid gunfight repeatedly so that might miss shots or just kind of throw off what they're seeing on their screen. It's not one that I use a lot, but if I'm in a really sweaty game, you'll probably see me pull this one out. We briefly talked about it before, but now we're going to talk about what is the most unique style of movement in XDEFIANT, and it's momentum. The ability to strafe in midair, the ability to change your momentum left, right, forward, backward, while in a jump, slide, whatever it will be. Understanding that moving in XDEFIANT, sliding and jumping and all that is something that can be chained together to keep your momentum going forward is completely different than most games. A lot of games you might just slide cancel and use it as a speed boost. You might jump and then have fatigue afterwards. This game wants you to be able to change direction in midair. And what I mean by that is when you slide and go into a jump, you are able to slightly wiggle left, right, forward, backward with your analog stick and still continue your momentum onto the next movement. So if you're sliding and you get into an engagement, sliding out of that into a jump allows you to strafe left and right while in a gunfight, and this is the advanced side of XDEFIANT. This is movement that is much more unique than any other game, and understanding that being able to do this in a gunfight will definitely take you from a mid-tier player to a high-tier player. Most players do not expect this kind of movement, and you can tell when you are playing against a really good player based off of if they're doing this or not in game. You can be the best in the world at aiming in this game, but you will lose gunfights to many people who have that movement hidden in their back pocket. Being able to slide, jump, strafe, and do all of this in the middle of a gunfight will definitely throw the average opponent off. And learning to air strafe is not that difficult. All it is while you're jumping out of a slide, just wiggling your stick to go left or right, forward or backward. This allows you to kind of keep your momentum going to one way or another. I've used this numerous times, and like I said, to many things here in this game. If you see a gameplay on this channel, and you've probably seen me do one or the other of these things, or all three of them in this span of the same kind of gunfight. It's just the most unique way to use XDEFIANT to get an upper edge on all of the opponents in the game. So now a couple tidbits to maybe help you even excel more when it comes to the game, and just little things that you might not know about XDEFIANT. When it comes to sprinting, the fastest way to go from one spot to another is actually with your pistol out. So those times when you're running back to the escort drone or zone control, or even the way I do it sometimes is the initial hill in domination B flag or the occupy hill, I will actually run with my pistol out knowing that there could be a chance I get into an engagement with that pistol, but most of the time I'm gonna get to that location before other players because they just don't know this yet. They're going to be running with their big LMG, their big AR, their SMG, and they're going to be running a little bit slower than I am. So keep in mind, keeping your pistol out is definitely going to make you move a lot faster. Another major one is that slopes do matter. When sliding downhill, whether it's steps, plywood, a hill, no matter what it is, you will continuously slide without having to touch anything, while sliding uphill is going to feel a lot like you're sliding into mud, where you're kind of stuck in that. So understanding the terrain, most of it's flat. There's not many spots that are going to be downhill, but if you're trying to get away and maybe you're one shot or something and there's a staircase coming, use that advantage of just sliding down that staircase. Keep in mind, if you try to ADS while sliding, it will cancel your slide. You will not be able to do that while sliding. It's an intended thing in the game. They have no intentions on making you able to kind of aim down sights while sliding. So remember, if you're going to get into a gunfight, try to jump out of that slide before you start to aim. And the final bit is going to be just a setting that I prefer to use that maybe you want to use as well. There's a setting in game called auto running. All it does is just turn off the ability to click your thumbstick in so you have to sprint. It's a quality of life thing that I love and I encourage a lot of people to use because it just makes the game feel a little bit better. There's also a threshold for sprinting. I set mine to 1. You might want to play around with that if you're used to other games, but for me, that's what's felt the best. And when it comes to settings in general, a rule of thumb, just set your settings to something you like and then and play with that for a good bit, because it's going to take a little time to get used to the feeling of new things. So don't be afraid to play bad for a couple games just because you want to test out new settings. That's all we have for the in-depth movement guide. I have been very, very excited to make this video. It's one that I've been thinking on for a long time. It's a longer video, so if you guys stuck around to the end, please let me know down in the comment section below, what's your favorite faction in XDefiant? I want to know what you guys are playing as, and if you guys enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button. It means the world to me. We're going to shoot for about 150 likes on this video. But with all that being said, I'm going to cut it short here. I love you guys to death. I appreciate all the love and support here recently on the channel. I will see you tomorrow in the next video. Until then, guys, have a great weekend. Deuces, boys.